We expected a significant decline in the inflation rate, but the extent was quite a big surprise. If you look at the main reasons why the inflation rate dropped so significantly, I think a significant portion of that can be ascribed to the base effect. Now, in July last year, the month-on-month increase was about 2.2%, which is pretty significant. It also increased last year from 10.3% to close to 12%. So last year we've really saw the point where the inflation rate really started to accelerate significantly. So that was a main reason for the big increase. Main reason also, food prices increased by 2.3% and transport by 3.7%. Now, this year around, although this 0.8% compares very well, it is significantly lower and therefore the sharp decline.
Now, today we saw the South African Reserve Bank surprising the markets with a 50 basis point cut in the main interest rate here. Do you see a situation perhaps suggesting that the Namibian Central Bank is going to move on rates and perhaps cut more aggressively than they've done so far?
I think it definitely paves the way for the central bank to lower rates, although their focus is on domestic credit extension and foreign reserves. Now, if you look at private credit extension, it basically has stabilized around the 10–11% for the last 6–7 months, while the foreign reserves is still at very healthy positions. So they're not looking at inflation per se as in South Africa as an indicator for interest rate movements. But obviously this lower inflation rate will make it for them much easier to reduce the bank rate by another 50 basis points.
But the interesting thing also to note in those numbers is that we saw the month-on-month inflation rate almost doubling there to 0.8% from 0.4% from the previous month. Is there perhaps a suggestion that we could be seeing inflationary pressures creeping in again into the Namibian economy?
One must always remember that this is not a seasonally adjusted number, so you cannot really compare that 0.8 with the previous month 0.4. Because certain categories or elements of the CPI are only accounted for on a yearly basis or a quarterly basis. So one cannot really look at that. But what I can say is that 0.8% really compares well with previous years' monthly changes for July. So I think, based on this current trend, I think the inflation rate will stabilize around the 7.5% level, with a possibility of around 7.1 at year end.